Are you trying to avoid the topic of conversation?
What? Try to avoid my emotions? Oh, this feels so good. I really like this Kelly's Always Right segment.
Hold on. I'm going to need a fact check on this because I don't believe you.
Dogs matter so much, and people matter so much, and nothing else matters. I want to ask you for a favor, and it's something that helps dogs because one of the biggest points of Dogs and Coffee is featuring the adoptable dog. And the more people that subscribe, download, follow us, the more likely others are to hear about that adoptable dog. And we just want to grow this awesome dog-loving community. So subscribe, or Kelly's going to come get you.
Yep. Here it comes.
Welcome to Dogs and Coffee, where we sit down with inspiring animal lovers, advocates, and everyday heroes over a great cup of coffee. I'm Rocky Kanaka.
And I'm Kelly Kanaka. Each week we bring you real conversations and heartfelt stories that celebrate the incredible bond between humans and their pets.
Today we're doing something a little special because y'all loved it last time we did this, where it is an episode with Kelly and myself. We've been having some really great dog rescue advocates and celebrities like we've talked about. Some guests that you've recommended that are coming up that I think you're going to be really excited about. But today, I thought we would sit down, have some fun. I made you some delicious coffee. Okay.
You made it?
Yeah, I made it.
Oh, great.
Okay, Kelly said that because, you know, what silly person can't just make a cup of coffee? But no, I'm doing it on the cafe equipment. I've been learning because, and we'll save this for the farm update, but one day, what if we open a cafe?
Yeah, what if?
And so I made you an Americano.
Okay.
Decaf, because we've had so much coffee already.
And can you tell me exactly what an Americano is?
Yeah, so it's a shot
of espresso.
Yes, and hot water.
Okay, great.
And it's basically for Americans.
To water down the espresso.
well, I don't know, but basically, like, imagine you're an Italian, a real Italian, and you're in a coffee shop. In walks Rocky, and I go, "Hey, can I get a coffee?"
Yeah.
And they go, "Oh, like,"
yeah, a lot of espresso.
And you say, "No, coffee. Like, I need a coffee," and they don't have that, so they go, "Okay, let's try to help this guy." It is my best interpretation of what that is.
Okay.
You guys tell me if you're Italian and you're watching this, you tell me. But let me know what you think, because I asked Georgie, who's been helping us, and he's been very patient with me, and I asked him, "Would you hire me? Thumbs up or thumbs down?" Mm-hmm. I'll tell you his answer after you tell me what you think of.
It's good.
It's like good, huh?
Yeah.
It's easy because it's flip coffee, so it's already good. You know, like I'm starting, like trying to make bad coffee into something good with skills is hard. Not having great skills, but having good coffee, it masks a lot of your imperfections. Not you, mine. Oh, that's good. Okay.
Okay, so today I told you that I had the topic of the podcast covered.
Yes, I'm excited to hear.
I think this is a topic that the audience will maybe, I don't know about enjoy, but resonate or just be interested in hearing because you posted about it kind of recently.
Oh.
And I think that it's not something we really talk about. And most of our audience wasn't aware. A lot of people could relate. And it's a pretty emotional, kind of touchy, but also it's in the book. And so.
I had a stroke.
Yeah.
It's 5 years ago now? 6 years ago?
6 years ago.
Coming up on 6 years ago. And it was really hard it was really hard to talk about. I did talk a little bit about it. It's not like this is the first time I ever talked about it, but I didn't talk a lot about it because I found myself really struggling with it. So I will say I was not prepared, but okay, be ready for possible tears. I think it is important to talk about because my dog saved my life. You know, Flip is, well, we'll tell the whole story.
We got the scoop we got to get into first.
Yeah. Oh, and I have a really good story for you for the scoop. Okay, let's get into it. Let's change the subject. But stick around. I'll tell the whole story, and I think a lot of people could relate. The scoop. Okay, you ready? I got a whole list of things to tell you about, to talk about. Some research I've been doing, some things that have been coming my way that I've been saving just for this moment, some facts.
Right.
Okay, first, I think you saw this, but we got to talk about it. Okay, when your dog passes, often and growing in popularity is cremation. So you can have your dog with you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, right? We
Yes.
did this with Flip, Zoe, Snoop.
Yep.
And I thought I would go spread Flip's ashes somewhere, but it's oddly, if you've ever been through this, tell me if it's just me. I think it's a lot of people. It's very comforting to have him there.
Mm-hmm.
Like he sits on my dresser, often put my hand right there on him, and just there you go, cremation, right? You're looking at me like, where are you going with this? But recently, someone in San Diego County, a cremation business, kind of went out of business, or I don't know if there were some bad things happening there or what, but people where their dog passed and they trusted this company to cremate their pet now can't get their pet. And or they had to go search through all of these pets that had passed to identify their pet. That's kind of wild, huh?
I could not even imagine.
Like
you go through that heartache
yeah.
of them passing, and then to then have to go search through.
What would you do if okay, to
Yeah.
our listeners, what would you do? And to you, my wife, what would you do if they called and said, yeah, okay, they don't know, but there are a bunch of dogs. Do you want to come look through all of them to find them? What would you do?
Yeah, of course I would go.
Okay, well, you say that.
Yeah, I mean, it would break my heart.
No,
and
I
I'd
agree.
be pissed off. I would be cussing people out and telling everybody about it.
Okay, I know you say, of course I would go.
Yeah.
But I think some people, the pain would be too great.
Oh, yeah, it'd break your heart all over again, even worse, into a million more pieces.
You couldn't, I don't think there would be any right or wrong answer in that situation.
They say there's like different stages of grief.
Yeah.
That would jumpstart me into the anger.
Rage.
Rage. Of,
And
Yeah.
I don't know, because I don't know the full story. I don't know if this company if there was bad acting going on.
Yeah, like malicious intent.
Yeah, or if they were just going out of business. Like, let's say if you've ever run into this, you go to a coffee shop or your favorite restaurant or whatever, and they're just closed. Or you start to see things where maybe the staff isn't there.
But I think you would stop taking customers or, deceased pets
Yeah.
if you knew you were going close so that you could fulfill your commitment. But it sounds like this didn't happen, and then they closed, and now there's a bunch of bodies that
yeah.
don't know where they belong.
Yeah.
And
Anyways.
that's...
Okay, well, I have your answer now. I would also go. You know what I would do is I would go for you.
Yeah, well, and I think we would probably also try to help take photos and get other pets
Yes.
to their rightful owners. And so that way, if people felt like they couldn't bear that weight, then we could help them.
That's a good idea. We should have reached out now that I think about that, because you need a third party almost to go in there and help with that and go, hey, we saw that you had this kind of dog. We've got these 3. Can you help us with any identifiers?
And also, the people that could be working there are going, yes, I think this is your dog. And then you go expecting it to be your dog, and then it's not. And then it's a whole other emotional roller coaster.
Yeah.
And I'm certain that the people who are handling it, which probably the police at this point,
Yes. Yeah.
are probably not equipped. I mean, maybe they are in some ways, but I can't imagine this is something they do that happens very often.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, I got another one for you. Wait, is it your turn or can I go? I got good ones.
Go ahead. If
Okay,
if you are excited, let's hear it.
Okay, this cup of coffee I made you is probably a 9 out of 10. 10 out of 10 would be if it wasn't decaf.
Okay.
Okay. Just because then you get the benefit of going, whoa, I'm awake. Okay.
Yeah.
So, all right. So 10 out of 10, your husband makes you a delicious cup of coffee as your barista. Your dreams have come true. I'm here doing this. How much would you pay for that cup of coffee? I know you've paid dearly.
Like, is this a trick question?
No. But say it wasn't me and someone said, I'm going to give you the best cup of coffee you've ever had in your entire life.
Yeah.
How much would you pay for that cup of coffee?
Well, is it just the cup of coffee, or can I request the environment?
Okay, I'm going to ask our listeners because you are so my wife. Well, let me qualify this question.
Oh, I got to know what I'm getting.
I know.
If we're putting a dollar value to it,
My girl's
right?
got to know.
Like if we're at home and it's out of our coffee machine, I know exactly what that costs, and I get it every morning. So I'm not,
I'm glad we're bringing people into our world of, this is why it works so good. Because I'm like, what if we did this giant, big, great idea? And Kelly goes, here are the 10 things we're going to run into from month 6 to month 36. Just, I don't know. I don't know. You show up at a cafe.
The most I would say I have probably spent on a cup of coffee, if I'm really doing it up with flavors and milks and all the things, it'd probably be between $6 and $7, and that irritates me.
$6 and $7, and that irritates you.
Yeah,
You and I got to talk because I think that's just kind of going coffee at this point.
I know.
No, but I mean, it's the best coffee. You'll tell people
Okay.
about this. The best coffee you've ever had. $30. Okay, I think that's
For a cup.
I think that's reasonable. Okay.
Well, okay, but if I'm somewhere like
No, I'm cutting you off.
at a fancy vacation, I'll go 50.
Okay, 50. All right.
If
Final
if
answer.
there's Kahlua in that, then maybe 100.
Okay. Well, I hope listeners, I hope you just answered my question for me. All right, so
I'm open.
no,
No,
you-
I'm not. Okay.
$100. Is that your final answer?
Yeah, but it's got to hit all the marks.
Oh my goodness. Okay, can I just get to the story?
Yes, please.
The Guinness Book World Record
Oh,
just announced that the most expensive cup of coffee in the entire world in history sold.
okay.
Guess how
Well,
much?
okay. Where was this located? Did you say that?
Let's work.
I need some context here.
Okay, all right. This is the last. All right, from now on. I'm gonna start saying you get a limited amount of questions to my questions. $680.
Okay. That's expensive, but
Oh, you started with $6 to $7 makes you angry, and now you're saying that.
well, okay,
Listen,
what makes it so expensive?
if I get a cup of coffee at that price, I'm hoping you're also
It better
giving me a
change
new
my life.
iPhone.
Yeah. Like-
it better come served with the iPhone being the coaster. That's wild. Like, I wonder if you do that and you're so excited about it and then you drink it and then after you immediately have regret.
I want to know more about the person who purchased this.
You know what's really funny is when I saw this,
Uh-huh.
Instagram served it up to me, and like some of the comments were like one person said, that should keep me awake for 5 years. Like,
Yeah. Was it instant regret? Please let us know.
And then someone says, I just hope the farmers in Panama get fair payment for their product. I guarantee you they did not. And then someone said, I've personally served and sold more expensive coffee in Sydney.
Oh, Australia.
I
Then
mean, there's some good coffee in
well, if
Australia.
you don't call up Guinness, then it doesn't count. So it's funny that you saw this on Instagram because I also got served up something pretty funny. I'm guessing you have probably seen it because I feel like it has taken social media by storm.
Well, and Instagram thinks basically at this point you and I are the same person.
Yeah. So there's these, I'd say, call them teenage girls maybe, and they're using AI to insert a homeless man in their home, and they're texting their parent saying, "Oh,
Oh, no.
look, I met this person, and they are hungry and they're tired. They need a place to stay." And then
Oh, no. That's
naturally, the
horrible.
parents are going, "What are you doing?"
Oh, my goodness. Yeah. Like, we want you to be kind and giving, but let's talk about this.
Yes. Some might say it's insensitive,
Yes.
and others are laughing hysterically
Oh.
about it because of the response that
Oh, you missed a real opportunity.
what?
You should have done that with a dog. Like, hey, I brought this dog home from the shelter.
Oh,
Yeah, you.
man. Yeah.
Anybody listening,
I
run with this and go whatever. Find that AI app and like tell your husband, hey, I hope you don't mind, but
yeah, I remember a wife doing that to her husband, but she said she found a puppy and it was like a baby fox or something.
but you should be like they had like a buy one get six free and put like a whole pack of dogs right at the front door.
Yeah.
That would be amazing, wouldn't it? Okay, hey, these ideas are free too, guys. So let us know when this joke pans out for you because
Yeah, or
we won't
or
know.
if it
But
goes
you missed it.
seriously wrong.
You missed a golden opportunity.
I don't have time.
It's a little harder for us because I'd be like, oh, great, let's get him to the farm. Like, let's get him set up. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I have another one for you.
Okay. Are you trying to avoid the topic of conversation?
What? Try to avoid my emotions? Okay. All right. Well, let's at least give a Flip's Farm update.
Okay.
Because I have a good one.
Okay.
So if you're new to the podcast, we have a farm named after my late dog, Flip. And this farm is set up to grow coffee. And when you buy the coffee, we're trying a new model where then that goes to help fund the rehabilitation of these dogs that we're pulling from the shelter that need physical or behavioral or mental rehabilitation. And we had this girl come in, Olive, who we didn't know the name. We let everyone pick the name.
Yeah.
A lot of good name suggestions. She was brought into the shelter with a t-shirt on her side covering this massive wound that was the size of a plate. I'd say.
Like a
And
side plate or a dinner plate? Because
somewhere between those two,
I
I'd
didn't see it
say.
until after it was closed
You
up.
know, it was a side plate, but by the time the vet was done removing some stuff because the wound had been there so long, a dinner plate for sure. And they had done masking tape around her. Anyways, you could go watch the full video. It's kind of tough, but I'll tell you this. We didn't know. We were really worried. We didn't know if it was cancer or what it was, but I'm so proud of the community because Dr. Mays at Rancho Coastal Humane Society stitched her up like a suitcase, like had to stitch the inside and then the outside. Because a lot of times you have to do like a graft. I don't know how they do it, but pull from the leg or something. I don't know.
Yep.
We were worried. She did great. Animal Friends of the Valleys for calling us. They did great. Like this is rescue at its best. Everyone working together. And the biggest thing is this community did great because they help us raise the funds so Rancho Coastal Humane Society wouldn't be out of pocket on this. Wild how supportive everyone was. So we got her to the farm yesterday, no, 2 days ago, because yesterday morning I was like, oh man, she's a big girl and not big, like she's a large dog.
She's probably a Great Dane mix.
I think a Great Dane and Black Lab mix. And I thought she was going to tear up the entire Quonset hut, the little doggy condo that we have. No, sweet as pie. Like it might be the trazodone a little bit, but I don't think so. I think she's got that Great Dane temperament.
Yeah.
And the friendliness of a black Labrador retriever. Most of the time it doesn't work this way. I'm waiting for like the other shoe to drop because it's gone so smooth. Like she's healing faster than normal. I think she'll be available for adoption in a couple weeks.
Great.
And I'm telling everyone here first because we haven't even put that video out or released that.
Yeah.
So you guys are first to know.
Okay. So let's get into it. You had a stroke about 6 years ago.
I had a stroke.
You want to take us back to that day and walk us through what happened?
So the interesting part about the day is it was like any normal day. And I think it's important to say also that if you're listening to this, I'm 6'4". At the time I was 200. I'm probably about 220 right now. I need to slim that down a little bit. But 200 pounds. If you remember, I was bragging to my friends about how I had just received my annual physical because I was like, okay, I need to start doing this. I'm an adult. So I went to a doctor. I got an annual physical. I hadn't done that, I think, since high school. And the doctor's like, yeah, flying colors. I got my blood test results back. I got, we went through the whole thing a man of middle age should go through. And I passed with flying colors, like above marks. And I did all the research. I'm like, boom. Sending that to my friends, be like, try to keep up, fellas. You know, and maybe that's what, maybe that's a God, whatever that may be going, I want to knock you down one notch. But no, so yeah, so I think it's important to say I was in good health and running, you know, I don't know, at that time, 30, 40 miles a week. Like, you know, I go out 6-10 mile runs and Flip was even running some of those with me if I was doing like a shorter 2 or 3 mile run. My boxer at the time that he was at that time 6 years old? No, 5 years old, middle-aged boxer. Yeah. So I got up in the morning. It was early, was coming out of the shower. And at the time we didn't have kids. It was you, Flip, our boxer, Zoe, our little terrier mix. How old was she at the time? 8-ish?
10.
Snoop, who is also 10.
Yep.
He was a little min pin, looked more like a chihuahua, but if you told him that, he got super angry. And yeah, it was just our little crew.
Mm-hmm.
And so I got up, took a shower, and I was, it was a small house in Venice, California. And so our wardrobe, we actually had set up in kind of the living room. So I was getting my clothes from in the living room, and how the house worked, very small, traditional California bungalow. I think the whole place was like 1,000 square feet.
Yeah.
And then so I was getting dressed in there, and I think I put my underwear on and maybe a pair of pants. Yeah, that was it. Didn't have any shoes on, no shirt.
Okay. Well, so what happened next? Because you haven't even gotten into how it happened. Like, did you feel it starting to come on? Did you know what was happening?
So here's how it happened. And I think this is important in case you're ever in this situation. I started to get that feeling like you haven't eaten. Let's say it's like later in the morning, noon, and you get that feeling like you're a little dizzy and you're like, normally you go, oh, I need to eat something, you know? But then it started deepening, like it started getting much deeper. And as it started getting deeper, where I'm like, oh man, I must be like really hungry. Like, all of a sudden, the only thing I remember is my boxer Flip comes barreling through the backyard because the back sliding door was open, barreling through the backyard and just jams his nose as hard as he can into my knee. And I'm like, I was like, Flip, like, what is wrong? I'm thinking like, what is wrong with this dog, to the point where it threw me off guard as to what was going on. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this dog, what in the world has gotten into this boxer? Because boxers are a little silly sometimes. Like, that's what I love about them, right? They're often silly. They're serious protectors of their family when they need to be, sometimes a little too energetic. So you gotta make sure you exercise them. And they have short snouts. And so they're sensitive short snouts. And so it was odd. And I was like, all right, whatever. And then he backs up and then he does it again and he jams his nose into my knee, like in a painful way to him. It didn't hurt my knee, but to him, it had to be painful. And I looked at his face and I immediately knew something was wrong with me because we were so close and like our communication together was so close. And so the next thing I said as I was dropping is, Kelly, call 911. Something's really wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So now I throw it to you. You're in the kitchen.
Yep. And I come out of the kitchen and kind of go around the corner and I'm like, what do you mean? And I like just looked at you and I don't know what you said, but I was like, what am I going to tell 911? Like, what's wrong?
Yeah. And at that time, I'm making my way to the couch because I'm thinking, if I go down here, you're not going to be able to help me. And if I can just stay standing or sitting, like at this point, I'm going to die. Like,
yeah,
this is not normal.
In my view, you didn't look that bad.
Right.
And so I was just like, what do you mean? What's wrong? Like, what am I going to tell 911?
Yeah. And for me, because of Flip's warning, I'm going, okay, he knows something's wrong.
Yeah.
I know something's wrong. Systems are shutting down. I've got to get into a position where I can try and stay upright. Something. I don't know if that even matters. Like, if you're a doctor listening to this, you can tell us, like, does that even matter? Probably not.
Well, you could probably fall and hit your head on something.
Yeah, that's true.
You right? Like,
so I made my way enough around, the couch was like, it had an armrest, but I'm tall enough where I just kind of step over it. So I was able to sit down right there. And then again, Flip, boom, 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 just like jamming his nose, where I had to like grab his head and just kind of hold it. And then you're looking at me. Gosh, what happened then? Yeah,
well, I started trying to call 911, but I couldn't get through.
That's right.
I got a busy signal.
Let's talk about that.
I was getting busy signals calling 911.
Los Angeles,
and
California. I
didn't know what to do. Like, I started panicking and I was thinking, oh my God, I'm going to have to drag him to the car.
Yeah. So I'm looking at your face when this is happening.
Yeah.
And context for our listeners, your baby brother passed.
Well, he wasn't a baby.
No, but he
was my younger brother.
Yeah.
Couple years, 2 years younger than me.
But he had passed how many months before that?
3.
3. So I am looking at you and you're frozen because 911 didn't pick up and you're frozen. And I thought these were going to be my last words. And I'm just thinking, like, I have to get you unfrozen because I could see in your face, you're looking at me going, oh, I lost my brother. I'm about to lose my husband. And hold on, let me get you a Kleenex. I love you. I'm looking at you and you are frozen, understandably. And so I wanted to make sure that my last words were not, that my last words were very calculated. And so the one thing I did get out, I know I got out, was, I love you.
And I didn't say it back.
Yeah, but I don't.
Not out of.
Yeah, I don't think.
I think it was more just I was still frozen.
Yeah.
But I remember just thinking, like, I'm not saying that because I got to figure this out. Like, that's not what's happening right now.
It's funny because even in death, your little personality comes out, or potential in death. And so I remember I wanted those to be my last words. So now my body's not working. Like my left side's not working and my right side's still working. So I'm also calling 911, trying to get through on the right side because you're frozen. And I said, call your brother. And so you start calling your brother. And then I said, we're going to get through this. We'll figure it out. You call your brother, get him over here. He can load me into the back of your truck. But I think what you heard was,
You didn't say any of that. I mean, I started calling my brother, and I just remember thinking, okay, he's driving. He's probably pretty close to here. I don't want him to panic and then crash. And so,
He also lost his brother.
right.
Yeah.
And so I asked him where he was, and he was just around the corner, like a block or two away. And so I said, okay, just get here as fast as you can. When you get here, I'm going to need your help getting Rocky to the hospital. And he just immediately started asking a bunch of questions, probably similarly to how I ask questions. And I just said, I'll tell you when you get here. And so then that's when I started like putting the dogs in their crate to try and get them corralled and out of the way. And then,
I couldn't move the whole time.
right. But I think you were still calling 911 because
I had my right hand working.
you got through to them
Yep.
eventually.
Yes.
I think that was probably around when you started coming out of it.
So, okay, so a couple things. What was interesting as like my systems were shutting down, and something I'll never forget is the opportunity to have those final words. Like that was it. There was nothing else in the world that I wanted to say other than I love you. I love you.
I love you too, but I wasn't there yet. I wasn't. You may have been in that moment, but I was like, nope.
Well, I didn't have a choice.
Yeah, I was like, I'm not. Yeah.
I was about to be gone. But I think, so so then I got through to 911, and
And you were kind of just yelling.
yeah,
At that.
everything was off. At this point, everything was off, but I was determined to stay sitting up, and like I was pushing,
You
and I
weren't
was
sitting up though. at
well,
that-
I was slouched, but I mean, like I was determined to not just pass out, and I wasn't. What I wanted to do was just close my eyes and go to sleep, and I knew I couldn't do it. Maybe it doesn't matter. Again, someone in the medical field could tell me,
Yeah.
but I would not. I was not
remember you
willing.
being slouched over.
Yeah, sure. But what I was saying is, I was not gonna go
Yeah.
out unless I had no choice and there was lights out. And then next thing I know, firefighters are there, which makes sense, I guess, in an emergency.
Right.
And they did get there pretty quick. We couldn't get through, but the good thing is they
They got there
close.
quick. Well, because my brother got there.
Yeah.
And I don't know if, where you were at that point, but I just said, okay, we're going to stay here because in between the 2 blocks that it took him to get to our house, you
Yeah.
had gotten through, and I said, we're going to wait.
Yeah.
And that way they get there.
I remember telling them when they got there, I'm like, I'm fine, guys, I'm fine. Like, I don't know if any of my words were still making sense, but I was like, I see this big firefighter guys walking in, and I'm like, I got this, guys. Like, I don't need firefighters here. I'm fine.
Yeah.
But I was not, in fact, fine.
No.
And they
you were not
were so good about it. They knew what happened when they got there.
right. But they were also asking questions like, okay, what have you had this morning?
Yeah,
Do you
the
take
like
anything?
drugs
Do
and
you, did you take a pre-workout? Like just anything that might like send you off, because it's not like I think we communicated anything, or you did, on the phone of what was wrong.
well, and I remember them looking at each other and talking to each other and go, yeah, oh yeah, that's what it is. Like they knew.
Yeah.
But I'd never thought about it. Like who would ever think? And I don't, we found out what it was. At the time, I was like, what is it? Like,
Yeah.
is it from me drinking Diet Coke? Is it from me like, what is it? Because I have nothing, like,
Yep.
I don't have vices in my life. I don't drink. I don't smoke. I don't like,
Yeah. Well, and I forgot about this, but when you were talking to me and telling me to call 911 and I was asking you what was wrong, I noticed that your jaw, like part of your face, wasn't moving. And that's when it clicked. I was like, oh, this is serious.
well, and I thought like low blood sugar.
Yeah.
what's-
No.
Obviously, that's not going to do that to you.
I knew when part of your face wasn't moving when you were trying to talk that
Yeah.
it was like, oh, F. This ain't good.
Family episode here, Kelly.
That's why I said F.
In the back of the ambulance.
Yeah.
On the way to the hospital. It was certainly one of the most impactful periods of my life. Because the paramedic says, the doctors will tell you, but I'm going to help you out. You had a stroke. I said, no, I think it was probably blood sugar or something. He goes, okay, but just talk to the doctors about that and we'll let them know. And I did. I was like, okay, whatever. I mean, I even tried to leave the hospital when we were there because they were taking so long. And I was like, I'm fine now. Like, I'm fine.
Yeah.
And I don't know what they did in the ambulance. I think they gave me stuff or something. But maybe that
I wasn't.
they were loading me. I don't know if what's it called? Stuff that helps declot or something. It could have been that. They were loading me up with all kinds of stuff. Anyways,
Blood thinners.
I was in the back of the ambulance, and if you've ever been in the back of an ambulance, it's so surreal because you're riding and you're seeing everything go past your life in a backwards fashion because you're riding backwards, and the sirens were cool. But in that moment, I realized that if I made it through this, that my whole life would be changed forever and the same all at the same time. And what I mean by that is like when you almost die and you're faced with your own mortality, you realize how short life is and the important people in your life. That's it. The important people in your life. And that constitutes of dogs and because a dog is people too, cats. They're the only thing that matters. I wasn't worrying about the new house that we needed to get, a business deal, the bills we needed to pay, nothing. The only thing I was thinking about is how I'm so lucky to be living this life of being able to help dogs, to have you in my life, and that I wanted to start a family. And why was I wasting my time not starting a family? And that if I made it through this, that's what we were going to do. And then I specifically remember also thinking about how I was going to give Flip so many dog treats, like unlimited dog treats, like dog treat bar, whatever he wanted. Like I was so grateful because I had saved him, and who would have guessed that he would save me? It's so cheesy when you hear people, they're like in the rescue world where they're like, my dog saved me. I get it. But like, he really did. He saved my life, and you saved my life. If we like went through a replay, I might have had you do a couple different things action wise.
Yeah. Like I do remember turning off the stovetop in a panic when I was pacing.
Well, that could have saved our lives later.
Yeah.
Save the house. I think I want people to know that like dogs matter so much.
Yeah.
And people matter so much, and nothing else matters.
Well, and it's interesting thinking about it too, because like Flip was the one that gave you that notification.
Yeah.
Zoe and Snoop were there. I have no recollection where they were
yeah.
during this whole episode.
It wouldn't surprise me if Zoe was like, great, they're distracted. Let me see if I get us some treats.
Yeah, probably. Like I do remember putting her in Flip's crate with him.
Yeah.
Because I just threw all the dogs in there, which is not normally something I do. Because like Snoop has broken a leg before, so I don't normally like put a tiny dog in with a big dog just to help, But at the time, I threw them all in there, so they were there.
Yeah.
Who knows? But I don't think had any clue. I mean, they're also seniors and older and less in tune with you.
But why I don't talk about it often? One, it's hard to talk about, and I'm pretty open with most things, and for some reason it's hard to talk about. It was really hard to talk about for a long time because I would have these nightmares. I'm not qualified enough to know, was it like PTSD or was it just nightmares or what? But they would be horrible where I couldn't wake up. I was having a stroke in my dream and I couldn't wake up.
Well, I think too, like, so this was the end of 2019.
Yeah.
So my brother had passed, you had a stroke, then you needed heart surgery.
Yeah.
And then COVID obviously hit.
Yep.
And I think we were all just afraid to die.
Yeah.
Like, really, I think that's what it was. Like, we went and got those Apple Watches, and I don't know if you remember, but we put the fall alert on.
Yeah.
And we were riding bikes, and I fell.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, that fall alert works.
It works. So 3 lessons. So it's funny because I think if I was listening to this, it's like, okay, we'll listen to this guy's sob story.
Yeah.
But I'll say this, 3 takeaways to prepare in case you have a stroke.
Yeah. What are the signs and symptoms?
So what we found out is I had PFO. We think that's it. That may not be it. So I'm always very cautious. But it's basically like a little hole in your heart from the left valve to the right valve. And so if, blood clots can pass through there and you need to close it up. Some people just have it and it's no big deal. The hole in my heart was a little bigger than it should be. So they went in, plugged it up. I'm good to go. Good as new.
Well, typically closes after birth. And so as children get bigger, it usually closes. But yours was too big and it didn't close.
So I've got like a little plug in there.
Yeah.
I'm happy, and I'm great. I'm good to go. I can run faster, jump higher. They do say that often that's happened because it messes with your oxygen levels. That didn't happen to me. It wasn't large enough to really matter outside of the clot probably got through and went to my brain. The doctor, when they came in and told me I had the stroke, he was giddy about it. You remember this guy?
I was like, this is like Grey's Anatomy
Well,
because
or more like, what's the comedy version of Grey's Anatomy? What's
I
that
don't
show?
know. Well, just in Grey's, Grey's fan, and anytime there's a rare case,
Right.
the doctors get really giddy over
Okay,
it
yeah,
because they're excited about something different. And so they thought for you it was a TIA, a temporary stroke, and then your body passes it.
Yeah.
But after doing the brain scans, they were like, oh no, you can visibly see it. Like, so a TIA is just symptoms of.
Yeah.
But after a scan, they could confirm that you
Yeah,
had
it's like,
it.
oh, you had it, and look, it's lighting up still on the MRI, and he goes, honestly, this is amazing. Like, I don't know how you're still here. This is unbelievable. And I'm like, this is not
I know.
amazing.
But I was sitting there going, oh,
Yeah,
TV is happening in real life right now because he really is excited about this.
Yeah.
But he's not reading the room that we're like,
yeah. And I was like, okay, so what medicine do I need? I'm gonna go
Yeah.
home, and then 5 days later in the
Yeah.
hospital still.
doing tests.
Yeah. But okay, so the three things I learned outside of valuing people and pets and why we're really on this earth, and it's why I continue to do what I do, is because I was already going down that path, but now I'm resolute that it matters. Every life that you can touch, every dog's life that you can save has an infinite ripple effect. And it's the purpose of life. Like, if you're ever wondering what is the meaning of life, that is it. Others. Okay, 3 things I learned. 1, if you can, they're kind of expensive, but you can get deals and specials. Go get a body scan. You can find clots, potential cancer. I know there's a whole reason to not do that stuff, but I would say just do it. Go get physicals, like all the preventative stuff. You're gonna be fine, but go do that. 2, just always have things in order, because know that things like this can come out of left field. And in order, I mean, as much as you can, your finances, your will or trust, just your love for others. Always tell them that you love them when you're walking out the door. Because remember, like, I thought my last words were, I love you. And just as much as you can say that, you cannot say it too much. I promise. Just tell everyone important in your life that you love them. I tell my friends I love them now. Like, if you would have rewound to 25-year-old Rocky telling one of my friends I love you, they would have been like, But now I will look at you. I don't care how uncomfortable it is for you, and I will tell you I love you.
It reminds me of that joke people were playing on each other not too long ago when they were calling their best friends,
Oh, the
like big
guy.
burly dudes,
Yeah,
to
yeah.
wish them good night.
Yeah, and I'm like, what's so funny about that? I call my buddies and tell them at 10
Yeah.
p.m. I love you and
Have a
rest,
good night.
sleep tight.
Yeah.
And then there are some other things that you can do. So I wear an Apple Watch so that if I fall from having a stroke, because it's not going to tell you if you're having a heart attack, but if I
But it does detect AFib,
right, which I don't have.
which you don't have, but you had to watch for it, and
Yes.
you were taking those readings to your cardiologist.
Yes, and it gave me confidence that I was okay.
Yeah.
Because you live in fear for the medical system. I mean, most everyone listening knows how just challenging it is, and
Yeah.
I'd be like, hey, I had this stroke and I need to come get a hip scan or a head scan or whatever scan, and they'd be like, okay, yeah, we can schedule it for 6 months out. I'm like, 6 months out, I might die tomorrow.
Yeah.
And so that was really hard. And the Apple Watch gave me a lot of confidence. I could do because I could feel my heart. The side effects that I had were, and I didn't realize this because I kept just kind of pushing through. This is what I do. I just push through things, right? I would pass out in the middle of the day, like not like I'm going to go take a nap. Like, if I don't take a nap, I'm going to fall asleep right here. I don't have narcolepsy. I never had, but almost to that point where by like noon or 1 o'clock, if I didn't lay down and take a nap for like 2 or 3 hours, I couldn't get through the rest of the day.
But that was after, right?
Yeah,
That
yeah,
was
for
your
like
body recovering.
3 or 4 months. And it
Yeah.
made sense. The doctor told me, your brain's a muscle too, right? Like, you've had a major incident in your brain and it's got to heal. So yeah, so Apple Watch. This is really great, because then if you fall, because my biggest fear is that this happens when no one's around. Flip saved my life because he notified me and gave us enough time to take action. If I would have missed those 5 to 10 seconds where Flip let me know that something was really wrong, I might have just been like, oh, I'm just going to see if this passes. And I would have passed out there, and you may not have found me for even 5-10 minutes. Could have been too late.
Yeah.
So tell people in your life you love them. go get regular checkups, scans, whatever you can do to just monitor your body. Wear a device that there's so much great tech out there that if something goes wrong, it can give you any sort of early warning. And 4, try to get a 5-year-old boxer from the shelter.
Well, and you also talked about having finances and things in order. Like,
Yeah.
since that incident, we talk in hypotheticals like every 6 months.
It's hard. It's hard, right? Isn't it?
Like, yeah.
If I go, this is the plan. If you go, this is the plan. If
Yep.
we both go, this is the plan.
Yep.
Because you realize how precious life is and how short life is. And we none of us want to think that this is going to happen to us, but it's going to happen to us. I would say figure out a purpose in your life and do everything you can to fan the flame to that purpose. Then when you're having that moment and it's time to go, you come back to that purpose and you go, I did it. I did it. And that purpose doesn't have to be start a YouTube channel where you sit with dogs. It can be, but it can be as much as spend time with your daughter, spend time with your grandbabies, like tell your husband you love him. No, I looked at you when you said that. Well, carry on.
I tell you.
I know
Often.
you are amazing. And I think I want to share this because I want people to know that hold on to what's so near and dear to your life and get out there and volunteer and find your purpose. And if it's like us, get involved with your local dog rescue or shelter. Find ways to share pieces of video content of dogs that are on the list and they may not make it because these things matter, right? If you're not advocating for them, then who is? You know, whether that's kids or dogs or people, friends, family, check in, just check in. I can't tell you how many times someone has checked in with me, how powerful it is for someone to message you or call you and go, hey, I just want to check in. How are you doing?
Mm-hmm.
Like, wow, how powerful that is. And especially if you're in, as we know, in the rescue and shelter world where compassion fatigue can set in quickly, you know, rates of suicide are so high. Euthanization is hard. A check-in is so powerful because at the end of the day, all we have is each other. And then I guess my last piece of advice is don't have a stroke. Right? There you go.
Yeah.
Drink lots of coffee. Wait, does that hurt? Does that make it worse or better? I don't know.
Yeah. After the stroke, you definitely had to get off caffeine.
I couldn't have caffeine. Boy, if you had a little caffeine, I could feel my heart just racing. But I'm back to normal now after I got that heart procedure. And the heart surgery was amazing, man. They just zip you in and zip you out. I mean, it was a day or two, but they just whoop, microscopic, whatever. I don't know. They stick it all through wires and big veins. And
Yeah, they went through your thigh.
yeah, you didn't have to open me up or anything. It was kind of crazy.
Yeah.
I would call it a heart procedure versus a heart surgery. Like when I think of heart surgery, I think you're cracked open and like.
Well, do you remember what you were telling everybody when you were coming out of anesthesia?
Oh, no. I'm glad we weren't videotaping that. What was I telling people?
You don't remember?
No.
Oh, well, I was pregnant and you were telling everybody you were going to be a dad.
Oh, no.
We hadn't really been telling people.
Well, I was just I was just setting up the team because that's the hospital. And in my mind, that would have been the same team. Now I know differently that you have different doctors for that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But be like, get ready to catch the football. Baby's coming. Okay.
Yeah, when they came in to let me know you were fine and they were like, and congratulations.
Congratulations. Yeah, my dreams came true. Thank you for letting me share this vulnerable moment. I only went through one Kleenex. It's funny because I bet you thought I was going to do all the tearing up.
No, I knew. Like, it just, for me, it was the timing of it with my brother, with obviously you, and then I got pregnant shortly after, your heart surgery, COVID. Like, it was a lot.
Yeah.
All in one. So
it was a lot. And I love you so much. And I'm sorry. And, you know, it really, as corny as it sounds, it was our stroke, right? Because we both went through that traumatic experience. It was trauma. But we have each other.
I think the timing of it, while it was hard, it prepared us to be parents.
Yes, that's true.
And it showed us, how much what are priorities.
Yeah.
And
let me tell you, I am so glad I'm still here because Flip let me know, like, Dad, your days are not done yet. We have a job to do, a mission to fulfill. Speaking of, should we talk about our adoptable dog?
Yes.
Listen, I need you to do something, and I need you to subscribe. I need you to download, follow, share this, because the more people that we have subscribe, the larger the audience, the more this is pushed out so that we can get eyeballs on these dogs that we want to get adopted. And that is the purpose, right? If we can find these dogs loving homes. So you never know when your share might help this dog get adopted. And we have a good one this week. Kelly and I were like goo goo and gaga over this dog. But it's time for the Adoptable Dog segment. Kelly, who do we have?
This week's Adoptable Dog is a cute, scruffy Schnauzer mix named Denki.
Okay, let me describe this dog for our listeners. He's like this Schnauzer mix, but he came into the shelter and got this haircut, and he's got this big old face, like this big dark black nose, dog ears that are folded over, and then they shaved him down probably because he had some issues, and so he looks like a real life cartoon. He's just poof, there's his big old head and face, and he's got this bandana that has American flags on it. He's just like, America, I'm happy, I'm proud.
Yeah.
This is like the dog you would dream to find at the July 4th barbecue, and he's got his big old happy tongue out. Okay, all right, tell us about this little guy.
Well, he's 48 pounds. He's based in Dallas, Texas. He may be a little shy at first, but once he feels safe, his true personality shines. He's calm, loyal, affectionate, and he's ready to be your best friend.
Why do you think this guy hasn't been scooped up?
I would imagine he's probably a little shy. And so when adopters see him, they don't take the time to get to know him.
And let me tell you, if you want a dog in your life that will just change your life, it's a shy dog that comes around, that learns to trust you again. There's just like a bond like no other. Not that all dogs aren't great, like even a jumpy, bouncy dog, but there's just something about that shy dog that comes around and learns to trust again that just is heaven. One thing I noticed is he has an adoption fee, $295.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't we see if we can cover that adoption fee?
Okay.
And if any of you guys want to be a part of that, you can do that by just becoming a member, and we'll just use the membership funds to cover the adoption fees of the adoptable dogs we cover. How cool would that be?
Yeah.
Should we do it?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. So yeah, just hit the join button if you want to be a member. And shout out to our Texas rescues, because that's one of the hardest areas right now in this crisis of animals in shelters across the U.S. So we feature him on RockyKanaka.com, and you spell his name Denki, Denki. And the organization that he's at is Paws of Love Animal Rescue in Dallas, Texas. Paws of Love Animal Rescue is fantastic, and some of the dogs that they're helping and saving in their community is really great. So go support them. Check them out. We'll link all of this in the description so that you can go check out this dog and this amazing animal rescue. Thank you.
Yeah. Let's get Denki a home.
Okay, so I have something fun. You're usually doing the trivia questions for our guest, right?
Yeah.
And I think only one person has gotten that right.
Got them all right.
Yeah, got all of them right, but you put the heat on them. So
I try to make it low stress, like, hey, it's no big deal.
yeah, but you're secretly
Probably not gonna
like,
get these right.
oh, I'm gonna ramp these up. Let's show everyone how not smart you are.
No.
I know. We're going to be friendly with our guests. But the good news is I get to do this to you today.
Right. Let's do it.
Okay. Which dog show airs after the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade?
The Westminster.
You have to... You are the one that does the trivia. You have to let me give you
I know, but
multiple
if you know
choice.
it, you can just call it out. Is that right?
Well, but what about our listeners? They want to play this game
sorry,
too.
listeners.
I hope everyone is enjoying this podcast because we're doing it for Kelly at this point. Okay.
You want to give us some options?
No. I think that's good to go. Let me give the multiple choice on this one.
Okay.
And in this one we know all too well in our family. Which dog breed is famously associated with the Walker's shortbread cookies? Because I love me some shortbread cookies. The Scottish Deerhound, tall, wiry hunting dog, once bred for chasing deer. Scottish Terrier, the iconic little dog with a big breed and a big attitude. The Scottish Collie, think like Lassie. Scottish Spaniel, which is a lesser known type dog from Scotland. So could be a Scottish Spaniel.
The Scottish Terrier.
That is correct. I feel like that's easy because I eat my weight in those cookies around holiday time.
Yeah.
I don't get them the rest of the time of the year, and I'll tell you why.
Why?
Because I think they only make them during the holiday. So if you see them on shelf in like July, don't get them. But I like them also specifically because they're the shortbread, but they've got the little sugar granules on top. If you pay attention, we're not sponsored by Walkers, but cookies. Wait, that's what they're called, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Some of them don't have the sugar granules on top. And I really like the ones with sugar granules on top. And I dip it in Nutella and boom, I let it hit my tongue with the sugar granules on the top. I have problems. But the dog ones are just fun because they're dogs and they have the sugar.
Yeah.
Like I said, I don't have vices, but sugar is my vice for sure. All right, fancy pants. Here's a tough one. Which breed is known for its distinctive butterfly-like ears?
Okay.
Papillon.
Yes.
Dainty little toy breed with a fancy French name.
Uh-huh.
Chihuahua.
Uh-huh.
Tiny but mighty. Famous for their big dog attitude. French bulldog, compact, quirky. Pomeranian, fluffy, feisty, and full of energy.
Papillon.
Incorrect.
I disagree. Let me tell you why that's not correct.
This is such a boring game.
What? Am I right?
Yes, of course you're right. Come on.
Does that segue into Kelly's always right, or are we just going to go ahead and skip that this round because
So I hope our audience is having fun playing this game, and I hope our audience also got all of them just right. Okay, now it is time for one of my favorite parts of the entire episode.
that is not true.
Kelly's always right.
You don't like this part at all.
Okay, what did I get? No, I do like this because you're really good at this. Okay, what did I get wrong?
I don't know.
Okay, well, that's interesting you say that because I have something that I'd like to talk about.
Okay.
So when we do the trivia,
Uh-huh.
our guests sometimes will get, maybe 1 to 2 right on
Yes.
average. We had one guest get them all right.
Uh-huh.
And if you were the guest, you believe you would have gotten them all right,
Well,
right?
that's because that's what the test giver told me. So are we
Hold on.
trying to go back
hold
on our word now?
Hold on.
So am I still always right because you got it wrong?
I think you've got me so convinced that you're always right because listen, I was like, oh gosh, you answered it with such confidence that I was like, oh yeah. Which dog show is aired after the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade? Our team let us know. They tapped me on the shoulder and they let me know, hey, proceed with caution, but Kelly wasn't right.
Okay, well, what was it then? Or give me the multiple choice.
Okay, but I don't want you to retaliate against our team.
Well, give me the multiple choice.
No. Tell us what your answer was.
Well, I said Westminster, but now I would like the multiple choice.
No. The answer is the National Dog Show.
The Westminster Dog Show.
Thank you for watching, everyone.
Hold on. I'm going to need a fact checker on this because I don't believe you.
Oh, this feels so good. I really like this Kelly's Always Right segment.
Oh, yeah?
It's good.
Well, I'd also just like to point out that you also got it wrong. So we're in it together.
Hey, thank you to everyone listening to these fun Dogs and Coffee podcasts. I'm going to put up another episode right here. Just click on that and check it out.